The catastrophic collapse of a multi-billion-dollar research and development pipeline actually rarely happens in the laboratory. It happens on a single sheet of paper. Specifically, it happens when the structural foundation of an independent patent claim fails during litigation. This document outlines a major pharmaceutical company's fateful choice. They secured a patent for a groundbreaking drug, but a generic competitor attacked the inclusion of the word novel. A $14.2 billion loss hinged entirely on failing to legally prove that single word. A similar disaster struck the tech sector, detailed in this breakdown of an $8.9 billion collapse. The company patented a processor architecture, describing their system as improved. That single adjective gave competitors the legal wedge needed to invalidate the claim and flood the space. Words that patent drafters include to help explain an invention's benefits often become the exact weapons used to destroy the patent in court. This comparison illustrates the disconnect. To a drafter, an adjective is a helpful explanation. To a litigator, it's a strategic vulnerability. These descriptive words operate like sleeper agents. They appear harmless during prosecution, only to activate into lethal attack vectors during litigation. We need to deconstruct these characterization traps, map the specific legal statutes they trigger, and establish a framework for engineering impenetrable claims. A subjective adjective added as an afterthought can single-handedly erase decades of research and billions in market capitalization. To secure a patent portfolio, we must forensically map these descriptive traps into distinct categories of legal vulnerability. This vulnerability map categorizes the primary attack vectors. The first is the novelty characterization, triggered by terms like new, advanced, or novel. These terms shift the burden of proof, requiring the patent holder to legally prove newness rather than defending the mechanism itself. Moving down the map, we encounter the performance trap, built around words like efficient, optimal, or superior. Claiming an invention is efficient creates an arbitrary standard, allowing an opponent to locate prior art that meets that metric to invalidate the claim. Similar pitfalls exist for quality and functional traps, which rely on words like high quality, precise, or effective. Because high quality is a subjective measure, it invites an indefiniteness challenge during claim construction. If a term cannot be strictly defined, the claim fails. The overarching mechanism at play here is burden shifting under Title 35, Section 102 of the U.S. Code. Every adjective used to sell the invention to a patent examiner becomes a concrete legal hurdle the owner must clear during litigation. Returning to the $8.9 billion tech collapse, the fatal flaw was the phrase, an improved data processing system. This analysis details the specific attack vector the competitor deployed. They targeted the word improved, using the Supreme Court precedent set in KSR versus Teleflex. The word improved is a trap because it provides a built-in motivation to combine existing references. Under the KSR standard, the court evaluates whether an update to a technology is simply a predictable modification. If an improvement is merely the predictable result of applying known optimization techniques to existing components, the combination is legally obvious and therefore unpatentable. The court ruled against the tech company specifically because their own claim language invited this exact obviousness test. By explicitly labeling their invention as an improvement, the original drafter inadvertently did the competitor's legal heavy lifting for them. These vulnerabilities do not scale linearly. Stacking multiple adjectives in a single claim creates an interconnected network of weaknesses, exponentially compounding the risk of invalidation. Drafters frequently fall into the dangerous habit of compressing several descriptive adjectives into a single summary sentence. Consider this diagram mapping the phrase, a novel and improved method for efficient processing. We start with the central patent claim. The inclusion of the word novel immediately opens a direct pathway for a prior art attack. Adding the word improved simultaneously creates a secondary pathway for an obviousness challenge. Finally, tacking on the word efficient creates a third vulnerability, risking an enablement failure if the specification doesn't perfectly define efficiency. This creates a harsh mathematical reality. The patent holder is legally obligated to perfectly defend every single one of these characterization nodes in court. Meanwhile, the challenger enjoys an asymmetrical advantage. They only need to break one single node to invalidate the entire claim. Over-describing an invention mathematically guarantees its vulnerability to a well-funded forensic legal attack. The defense against this threat requires a methodology known as strategic neutrality. Strategic neutrality is the ruthless elimination of all qualitative characterizations from independent claims. Looking at this strategic framework, the primary objective is shifting the focus entirely away from perceived benefits and returning it strictly to actual technical features. A vulnerable patent relies on subjective traits. A fortress patent relies on specific technical neutrality. This conversion chart demonstrates the strategy. For device claims, drafters must abandon the phrase improved device. The neutral alternative describes the exact technical configuration, such as a first component configured to interact with a second component. For process claims, the exact same logic applies to terms like an efficient process. Instead of claiming efficiency, the neutral claim specifies concrete operational parameters, explicitly stating the temperature ranges or cycle times required. And for chemical patents, a superior composition is a massive liability. The fortress alternative details the exact, measurable percentages of specific chemical substances involved. No judgment is passed on how superior those chemicals are. These objective, measurable metrics completely disarm adjective-based attacks under Sections 102 and 103, because there is no subjective standard left for a competitor to challenge. True patent strength doesn't come from aggressive marketing language. It comes from cold, mathematically precise, and strategically neutral technical engineering.